Hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Maz and Sack episode 6. Today we are going to be crazy Chicago fans and discuss what is wrong with Chicago sports. Um, we both grew up in Chicago, so we have that lineage where we can, say these guys suck, and we're going to talk about that.
All right. Oh, excuse me. I'm just going to start off by clarifying something, just because I know um, if anyone actually watches this and has an opinion, I'm just going to throw out this disclaimer. I do not claim the city of Chicago as where I grew up. I grew up south of the city of Chicago, about 45 miles in a town called Bumfuck, whatever. Yeah, you figure it out. 45 miles south, but I have the heritage of it. My Cub fandom comes from my great grandmother who took care of me, and my fucking, listening to Harry Carey with my dad's parents, and my Bears fandom is so deep and so just disgusting in nature. So much toxic masculinity revolves around the fandom for Chicago Bears, and I'm saying that honestly. But yeah, Chicago is the city. It's the only city I've ever cared about, and it's the only city I will ever care about. So let's fucking talk about these shitheads, because that's how I feel about all of them, except the Hawks. I don't feel that way about the Hawks, but the rest of them,
I, I I grew up in Chicago, the number one suburb next to Chicago, a little town called River Grove.
yeah.
I actually lived across the street from the famous Gene and Jude's. My dad was
Ooh,
actually the day manager at Gene and Jude's. My whole
nice.
family worked at Gene and Jude's. All my uncles. Um, my dad, my mom, and I guess myself, we had season tickets for the Bulls in '85 through
Nice.
'87.
Nice.
My uncle had second row behind goal at the Chicago Stadium for the Blackhawks season tickets.
Dude, the old
Um,
Chicago Stadium.
mm-hmm.
I got
uh,
to go there once.
that's it.
Yeah,
Oh
just
man,
once. Yeah.
that's where I grew up.
We do have season tickets for the Bears though. Like currently, we have a ticket package that we split as a family for the Bears, and that's kind of fucking fun.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. Well,
I went.
have you watched the Bears for the last couple of years?
You
Like
know what though? They show flashes once a year, once out of those 17, 18 games. They're
Yeah, and
awesome.
last season I got to go, not last season, but the season before, I got to go to one of the flashes, which was that first game against San Francisco in the rain. And I'll like that's one of those sports memories I'll never fucking forget, because I was in the south or the north end zone, which is where they all like came and slid, like did the penguin slides on the rain, like on the water. And like we watched that field fill up, like just fill up, like it had like sealant underneath it, and the water just like, and all of a sudden the grass just shrank under the water. It's fucking amazing. I've never like I've been to cool games, but just an experience like that was pretty awesome. But I'm sure we could do stories like that. I'm sorry to get onto one, but my point being, your point being,
I like your stories. If you want
we
to keep
feel
going, go
we
ahead.
feel capable of judging these organizations. We follow these organizations. These organizations, at least most of them, make a difference in our lives in one way or another. So
Yeah, I mean, just look at your background right there.
yeah, dude.
You got them
Oh,
all.
this is one of my pride fucking possessions right here. My Duncan Keith jersey. I got this the night that they fucking won, like 2013. I got it the night they fucking sealed it up. Like I had to drive from Wisconsin all the way down to Rockford, Illinois, which was the first place where, like, the first mall that had like sports memorabilia shit in it. And they have this crazy, well, they used to, malls are dying, but they used to have one of those crazy jersey stores Drove all the way there. I got done with work, got in my car, drove the hour down there, grabbed my fucking jersey, drove the hour back. I walked into the house, fucking turned on the TV, and they were doing the pregame, and I was like, yeah. And then we won a
The
cup.
Flyers? Is
It
that when
was
they played the Flyers?
2013, so no.
Boston.
Wait,
17
Boston.
seconds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, because it went Philly, Boston. Wait. Who was the third one?
Lightning, Tampa Bay.
Lightning. Yeah, Lightning. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. I almost said it, but I didn't want to be wrong, so I asked instead. But the third one's the least memorable. It's I mean, like the first one was the most memorable. That's how it fucking goes.
just like sex, man.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, yeah. God. Anyway, so where do you want to start, sir? Before I just keep fucking rambling on.
I think we probably start with the Bears.
The Bears.
It's the biggest. We can save old Depaul here for
yeah. Oh yeah.
Somewhere in the middle.
Oh, I got my NIU gnome up there. We can talk about the state of the MAC if you want.
I mean, people out here are probably getting very moist thinking about some action.
Hey, I mean, they're having their NCAA, MAC, the conference championships right now for wrestling and for other sports, but wrestling's the only one I care about. Yeah, I legit love the shit out of college wrestling. And the Big Ten tourney wasn't on, which pissed me off because the Big Ten tourney is amazing. Like those are all the top teams, like the top wrestlers, like the guys that'll win the NCAA championships, like 70% of them are from the Big Ten, like legit. But anyway, and the team that wins the top 3 positions at the NCAA wrestling tournament, the whole NCAA, all 3 of them will probably be Big Ten teams. Like the Big Ten dominates in wrestling. More than any other collegiate sport dominates, like way more than the SEC dominates in football. The Big Ten dominates in wrestling, and they've been doing it for a long time. Anyway, so the MAC tourney was on ESPN Plus, and I caught it off of fucking Hulu because ESPN Plus is on Hulu, and I watched a little bit of it today. I mean, they're MAC wrestlers, they're college wrestlers. I cannot take anything away from them, but it's the MAC, so we don't need to talk anymore about that. We can just talk about the Bears.
All right. Well, if we are going to start with the Bears, I believe the number one topic is going to be the number 1 pick versus JF1.
Okay. So do you want me to just launch right into this? Because I'm ready to launch right into this motherfucker. Okay.
Go.
So here's the thing. As the fan that I am hoping that there is someone in the organization right now, God damn it, Walter, that has the plan of what we're going to do when we sell. Because if the Bears aren't positioning themselves right now with this number 1 pick and Justin Fields and everything else, all the land they have, the plans for the new state, and now the city is coming to them saying, no, stay. And they shouldn't. They absolutely shouldn't. There is no reason for them to stay at the lakefront other than the pretty sconces that say Soldier Field. There's no reason for them to stay at the lakefront. Okay, so how much does that play into team building right now? I don't know. But if it's less than 5 years away, it should play a huge part. Like if they're going to if within the next 5 years, they're either going to have a new owner or they're going to move the stadium, or at least they're going to say officially that they're going to move the stadium, which within the next 5 years, they will have had to have made that decision. Like they should be team building with that in mind, in my opinion. Now, do I think they're doing that? I don't know. I don't care. I don't work there. I have no skin in the game. But as a fan, that's what I want to see. So for me, at this point, my evaluation of Justin Fields, sadly, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, is that he's not even Jordan Love. He's not even Jordan Love. Okay. Do you want to continue with a guy who's worse than the Packers quarterback? And you know it. You can't, there's no debate on it. There's no if, ands, or buts. He is not as good as Jordan Love. That's who you're competing with. That's who you care about. That's your dragon. The rest of the NFL will fall in line. And if you can beat the Packers, you probably have a good record over the course of the season anyway, because they're just a well-run organization. I hate them. I walk through every time I walk out of a Bears game, every tunnel, Green Bay sucks. That's all it is. Vikings fans do it with you. Lions fans do it with you. Everybody hates Green Bay. Okay. So, or do you want to try again with potentially, it depends who you listen to on this one. It's kind of controversial. You have people that are like, he is a generational talent. I heard fucking the dude that was on the draft show with the hair making a comment about how he thinks he's the most surefire number one overall quarterback since Peyton Manning. Okay. So if that's what we're doing here, like, but then on the other side, you have people that are saying his red flags are like fucking bonfires burning in the wilderness of Canada. Like, you gotta pay attention. He's an egomaniac. His dad is fucking crazy and he's part of his life. Like, there's a lot of bad shit, right? What do you believe? What does the team believe? What is the team like? We talked to Coach, and Coach was talking about how these people will do these interviews and they will really draw out of them what they feel they need to know. At this point, if the Bears draft him and these red flags turn out to be the case and there's smoke, there's fire where there's smoke kind of thing, you just wasted a number one overall pick and traded away a quarterback that would have been at least manageable, maybe better, maybe marginally above average. Okay. In the NFL, I don't mean as a competitor or anything like that. I just mean stat wise in the NFL. Okay. Maybe above average. What do you do? So you wanted me to answer it. I just went through that whole thing, and I got to be completely honest with you. I don't fucking know. Like, I have no fucking idea, and I hope they do. And that's the problem. That's the problem, because I'm Bear fan enough to know trusting the organization to know the right thing to do means you're fucked. Mm-hmm. It's fucked.
All right. So my take is going to be peeling the onion back.
Hold on. Okay. No more storytelling and fun wordplay. What I really think they need to do, what I want them to do, or what I think is going to happen, what I actually think is going to happen, because monetarily and business wise and everything else, they're going to trade Justin. They might only get a third round pick. Like, they might only get a third round pick, but they are going to trade Justin and they are going to draft Caleb. That it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
All right.
It's going to happen.
My take is going to it's going to go back to yours, but I have to go with where you started to get back to where we are.
Peel it, baby.
All right. So I sent you what Coach sent me regarding Caleb Williams.
Yeah. Yep.
And the gentleman, what I'm referring to is There's a gentleman on Twitter, I believe it's First Round Mock was the Twitter handle. He is a former NFL scout. He scouted Caleb. He broke down all the film, and he wouldn't give him a 4th round grade after all of it was done. So,
okay,
where
but
I'm going to go ahead.
I mean, there could be a lot there, though. Like,
right.
You don't like.
We're just 2 jagoffs.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not going to vouch for anyone's opinion over anyone else's. I know that, like, but it was scathing, dude. Scathing.
He ripped Caleb a new asshole.
Yeah, he did.
It was bad. So I think you have to go for value. You're thinking maybe they're lucky to get a 3rd round draft pick for Justin Fields.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, no, I think they'd be lucky. They'd be lucky to get a 2nd. I think that teams are gonna give them a 3rd.
No. So the Steelers are in. The news around here is the Steelers are in on Fields. They called the Bears. The Bears wanted a 3rd or a 2nd. The Steelers revealed that they are in a bidding war against the Steelers to get Justin.
Oh,
so they
oh no. Oh no. Dude, that's such a shiesty move. Fuck whoever did that. That is
the Steelers
such
yesterday, in order to kill any value in Justin, had Russell Wilson come to Pittsburgh.
Oh, of course. Russell Wilson, who they could pay the fucking league minimum, and he's still gonna make what, like $40 million or some shit
for like the next 12 years. Yeah. So the Steelers brought in Russ. He did not sign, obviously.
Okay, can I ask you a question on that, though? Maybe you can tell me, because here's the thing I don't understand about that. So that's the thing. You can sign him for the league minimum.
I think it's 1.32 million.
Is there like a cap? Is there like a limit to what he can be paid, or is that like what he has to be paid?
I believe it's what he has to be paid, because he's still getting guaranteed money from Denver.
So then my question is, does that include incentives?
I don't know.
Because
I don't know.
Is this a situation where the teams are going to call him in because, of course, someone else is paying the tab? You gotta, and who knows what Russell really has left in the tank, whether or not Denver was legitimately just a terrible spot for him. And I think it was, but I also don't think that Rusty is as good as he looked in Seattle with one of the best defenses, not the best defense, 85, one of the best defenses of all time. Right. So like, yeah, Denver was probably bad, but they're going to pay for it. So who the fuck cares? If you need a quarterback, bring him in. But if incentives are on the table, and I that's something that, I'll find out about at some point. But if they are on the table, I mean, then it's just about which team is going to throw him the most fucking shit, right?
Right.
It's like, who's going to
team out there that
buy him a house and fucking,
exactly. You could be paying him $1 million per win. You could do anything.
Yep. If you can, and I don't know if there's limits on that, because there might be clauses to that they can't take over a certain amount of cap hit because he already has such a large cap hit going somewhere else, and incentives do, count against your cap. So, I mean, I would assume there's something built in there for that. But if everybody's on an even playing field, I mean, where do you want to go if you're Russell? Now, we're not talking about Russell Wilson, so I apologize. But yes, that's what Pittsburgh, I didn't know they did that. But of course, that drives it down even further. You say you're the only team looking for him, and you're going to look somewhere else. Everyone else is going, well, shit. But there are teams that are playing like they have options that they don't have. And if Justin Fields is available, GMs, especially after the draft, or if you have a team that's kind of in the middle of the draft that thinks, hey, maybe a guy will fall out, because are we really going to have 3 quarterbacks picked 1, 2, 3? You know, you don't, I mean, if you're sitting at 13, or I don't know the draft order. So, but you know what I'm talking, like maybe you're hoping one of them drops before you make a move. And if they don't, then maybe they're on the phone and they're like, hey, let's do something, you know, who knows? But I do think that he should. Okay. So if he can't be traded, let's keep going down that one. You keep going. If he can't be traded for at least a third.
Well, so I have to go all the way back to where you started, because you were giving them a window of 5 years.
Yeah.
So that is them deciding if they stay on Lakeshore Drive or if they go to, what is it, Arlington Racetrack?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Which theoretically makes more sense, because
the plans for it are fucking beautiful too.
Yeah. So you have that, and then you have the McCaskey family selling.
Hopefully.
Because it's a mess. So,
well, when Virginia passes, like there really isn't anybody in the family that is still like a part of football production, or whatever you want to call it. Like on the football side of things, they're all on the business side of things. So like who steps up and takes her role, or do they just decide as a family that they're going to split the asset and move on because grandma's dead? You know, who knows?
I think we're going to have a bunch of discussions in this episode about families selling and these organizations, because every damn team has a family story in Chicago.
Yeah, they do. So, oh my god.
Yeah, think about that. So where are we going? We have the asset of Justin Fields. We also have the asset of the first pick.
Yeah.
So there is more value in trading that first pick if that is your window to be good by the time you're out in Arlington, perhaps.
Okay.
So I'm going to say
trade the pick.
Okay. Trade down to 2 or 3. Get yourself Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh God, I want that so bad.
Get another couple assets, build for next year, and then you could run into what you did last year by trading the number 1 pick and lucking into the number 1 pick.
So here's the problem. I really, I think that's the dream scenario though. I don't think that's the most likely. I think it's like the dream. Because I don't know if they can pull it off. Like, I just don't know. And especially with the way it feels like the relationship between the organization and Justin has soured. But if you what option does Justin have if they don't trade him? They choose not to trade him. They say, hey, we're not going to trade you. You're going to play for your contract this year. We're giving you Marvin Harrison Jr. You know, last year we gave you a top 10 wide receiver in the league. Now you have a generational fucking talent at wide receiver. Go do something. You can either earn a contract here or you can earn a contract somewhere else. How does Justin say no? Like, how does he throw a fit about it? You know, like maybe he holds out. I mean, but it's still his rookie deal. I don't know how it all plays out, what the guarantees are and stuff. But the reality is, if they choose to do that, it's a good move by the organization, and it would make me believe in the GM much more than I do, which is probably why I'm calling it a dream scenario. Because again, if we're being honest, the one thing Bear fans truly understand that a lot of fan bases don't is that if you get a stretch of bad GMs, like, your organization is just garbage for decades. because a GM will fuck up a team for 6 years. They could be a GM for 2 seasons and they'll fuck up the team for 6 years
I
because
don't
they'll
understand why you have to talk about the Bulls already.
yeah, no, but you're right.
Yeah.
Dude, if I mean to move on to that, I mean Gar, like everything about the Bulls I stopped caring about, and so I'm not even going to get into the structure of it, but like, once they changed everything, they traded away so many drafts. They had a shot, man. They were so fucking close because Derrick Rose looked like he was gonna be Kobe Bryant or at least Dwayne Wade. You know, like he looked like he was gonna be a perennial MVP contender. And then the dude blows out both his knees.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was rough. And then they suffered and they've never recovered. They've never recovered. And I don't even know who they put on the floor anymore because I tried getting behind them thinking, oh, they're going to be a good team. They're young. And then they made a couple of cool moves. And it's like, dude, this could be fucking cool. They might roll onto something here. Pfft, whatever.
All right.
Whatever.
So the Bears.
And can I just say that Butler being as good as he's been ever since, like, is so annoying to me.
Well, yeah. So a little stat I'm going to throw out there with the Bears. Once they acquired Montez Sweat, I believe that was week 10, the trade deadline. The last 8 games, the Bears had the number 1 scoring defense. The team started to win. Justin was at quarterback. He had come back from his injury. And after the last game, like you saw that the players bought into Justin.
Not so after the last game, before the last game.
Before the last game.
Now you got to be, but hold on. I'm going to make sure I'm very clear about this. Okay. Because this is why I have such a thing about not giving Justin another year for the Bears. It really is. Going into Green Bay and keeping them out of the playoffs. Like, he had some moments in that last stretch of the season where people were starting to believe in him and the team had his back. Okay. And they showed it, by the way. They showed it on the field. They played hard. They played really hard. When they showed it up into Green Bay, there was a narrative around the fans that then the media picked up on and started talking about was this is it. This determines what we do next. Because if Justin Fields goes into Green Bay and kicks them out of the playoffs, sign him. Fucking give him a contract right now. Done. If he goes into Green Bay and gets his ass whooped, this team needs to be fucking gutted. Fire them all. Like it was a make or break situation for fans. And I talk to fans my whole family, we talk nonstop about this shit. And it was really that simple because Green Bay means so much to what we need to do as an organization, not just beating them as a rival, but no matter what Detroit did this year, Green Bay is still the benchmark. Like Green Bay still made the playoffs, guys. They didn't go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like Jordan Love is being anointed the 3rd Hall of Fame quarterback in a row for this organization. Okay.
Will they beat Dallas?
Yeah.
Yeah. Went into Dallas and just destroyed them.
Yeah. And so let's I just need that addressed because before that game, I think the team was behind him, but there was something that changed. I don't know if you watched that game, but it felt like they were going to be in it. And then you realized they weren't. And it felt like they realized it too. And it just didn't it's weird. And, I think a lot about culture when it comes to the teams that and I know we're going to get to the Cubs at some point, but when they won in 2016, they had one of the most fun, and you see this a lot in baseball. The teams that win have like the most fun fucking locker room. Like the not like goofy fun, but like you can tell that they're locked in as a unit, you know, and all team sports are fucking like that. And the Bears, like, they can't get locked in with each other. And you're right about Montez Sweat, and you're right about the defense as a unit. I have a feeling when that dude came in there, he came in kicking the fucking door down, going, boys, we're gonna be fucking good, and kind of took that because they just fucking gelled. Like they started playing together, and they played above, you know, Jalen Johnson played fucking great. Like Brisker has become one of my favorite Bears. Like Javon Brisker is a fucking stud. Like their defense is getting good.
I work with Brisker's brother, believe it or not.
No shit. Wow,
Yeah.
that's insane. I love that guy. That guy, he's one of my favorite guys on that defense. But so if you do that, if you trade that pick and maybe you fall into something similar next year, but you do get, like, see, that's the thing. You can only go back so far. Like you can only go back to
number
3.
9. They still have number 9 as well. Don't forget.
But I think if you want Marvin Harrison, see, I don't.
It's got to go top 4.
Yeah. And then you still got to hope. I mean, like, I think you have to go to 3 because I think the top two are, you know, I think at 2, it's like someone else might trade up to 2 to get the other quarterback. They won't trade up to 2 to get Marvin Harrison. So I think at 3, you're safe. But who knows? The draft can, I mean, somebody can, you know, you don't know who everybody has on their board the way they have them. Like Marvin might be at the top of all these boards because of all the shit that has been talked about Caleb. Like it might be that way. And the other 2 quarterbacks, I don't think are, I mean, you know how the NFL is, you got to draft a quarterback. So you draft them out of position, but I don't think they're top 5 like picks against the rest of the class. Like there are offensive tackles who are probably 100 times more valuable than these quarterbacks are going to be to whoever they get drafted by.
Right.
But anyway, I digress. So you do that,
draft,
you get a Marvin Harrison, right? You get Justin Marvin Harrison, you throw him, you got a good defense. Obviously, you're still banking on Eberflus. You're giving him another year, you know, and that's where I get, again, it's where, but they didn't do what I wanted them to do to begin with. I wanted them to fire everybody, man. Like I was one of those guys.
Well, that's the thing though. Eberflus is a defensive coach, and the defense came to play.
That's fair. That's fair.
You ride with him. You got rid of Getsy. You get the new coordinator.
Thank God.
So
he was terrible.
That. Eddie Jackson got released, which is going to hurt.
Yeah.
So you got to get a safety, but the defense is still all there. You have Josh Jacobs that's willing to be a Bear. There's mutual interest there.
Yeah.
So you have Jacobs and you have Khalil Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty good 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
You have Cole Kmet.
And when they signed Cole, that made me super happy because I was worried about losing him too. But that was, you know, they've done shit like that before. I was really glad they signed him. And I mean, exactly like I wanted to see from him. I wanted him. I thought he was going to become Justin's number 1 target because Justin's a mobile quarterback. Well, a tight end is your best fucking friend. I mean, Travis Kelce is a great NFL tight end. I'm not trying to knock him down any pegs or anything, but having a quarterback that is very aware of him being a dump off and having an offense that runs through him being a dump off and then occasionally going fucking deep and having no coverage on him, you know, and making big plays. I mean, Kmet does that now. Like they've, and I think hopefully who did they hire for OC? I don't remember. Do you know? I could look that up.
Look it up.
Yeah. Let me look that up. Let me look that up. Let's look that up.
You have DJ Moore at 1.
Yep.
You could have Marvin at 2.
Mm-hmm.
You could have Kmet. You have the running backs. You just made the trade with Buffalo for the lineman.
Shane Walton.
Yes, Shane Waldron. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe you get a lineman at 9. You trade down. You get another asset, maybe a second, a third, to drop down a couple spots. Maybe you get your safety there. You stick with Justin this 1 year because you're going to have a high pick next year if he sucks.
Yeah, and
you
again,
already passed. You drafted Mitch over Mahomes.
yeah.
You traded down. You could have had C.J. Stroud last year. Roll with Justin. 1 more year. Who cares?
Yeah, no, I hear you. Fuck it. I mean, like, why not? Why not? You know, I don't think you're going to get another. I mean, if you're only going back to 3, are you going to get another first round pick for next year?
I don't know. Probably.
It might have to be a second. Like, you know, because you're already getting the 3rd pick. I don't know. It depends how those packages are built. I don't look, if it happens, I'm gonna be like, that will make me extremely happy. I would be happy. I would still, and that's the thing. The life of a Bears fan, and this is what I'm gonna wrap it up with, honestly. Life of a Bears fan is this. I'll be happy because it'll feel like a great decision. But in the back of my head, I'm just going to be thinking of the ways that it's going to fuck up, because the Bears have proven over the last, in my lifetime, dude, I was born in 82. Okay. I saw one of the best football teams of all time when I was 3 years old. And I watched it on video ever since. And I've heard my dad and my uncle talk about it for years and everything like that. Yeah. Great. And then I got close. Lovie Smith took us fucking close with a very comparable defense. Brian Urlacher, one of the best Bears of all time, probably the best Bear of all time, honestly. Devin Hester, Hall of Famer, fucking, you know, just an amazing fucking team, but a terrible fucking quarterback situation.
Every time it's the quarterback.
Yeah. And we've had, and again, so much of it comes from the Packers and what the Packers have done in the same amount of time. It really does. And it's an unfair standard. I don't think any other team and any other fan base in the NFL holds themselves to their deathly bitter fucking rivals that they played since the very first days of the league's fucking forming, has had 2 back-to-back, 2 first ballot Hall of Famers that played for over a dozen years in Green Bay. And that's what you're up against. That's what you're up against. And in the same amount of time, I don't know the number because I'm not the guy who spouts off the you know, what's in the media, like the headline. So I don't know the number, but it's been a tremendous amount of quarterbacks. And there have been several of them that I have put my faith in. And there have been several of them that I have stood behind. And there have been many that I've doubted, that I've been like, because they sucked. But then you realize that's still not a good thing because your team fucking drafted them and now you're fucked. Like, it scares me to think that no matter what they do, somehow it's going to bite us in the ass. I will say this. The only thing I don't think will bite us in the ass is if we trade Justin Fields, that he's suddenly going to go win a fucking Super Bowl, because I don't believe he can win a fucking Super Bowl. So that's why I'm just over it. But if it makes more sense to move on next year while we still have him under contract, let's fucking ride it out. Get potentially the best wide receiver to play the game in the next, in generation, next to a really good wide receiver. Good, like you said, good running back core. Your line is getting more gelled. You add a first round pick to the mix. Your defense is getting good. Eberflus is going to call the plays, and you go into it and you try not to get a top 10 pick again. Hooray.
So you were born in 82. I was born in 81.
Mm-hmm.
We had Jim McMahon, won the Super Bowl. Then we went out and got Eric Kramer, who sucked. Then they drafted Cade McNown, who sucked. Then
hold on, I had an Eric Kramer jersey.
Of course you did. I had a Chris
I did.
Sorich jersey when I was in high school, I believe.
Oh, nice.
Then what years went by, you got sexy Rex Grossman. Then Jim Miller led him to the number 1 seed and fell off the planet. Then,
dude, Rex Grossman. Okay. Rex fucking Grossman. I fucking loved Rex. And you go into that season, he had 2 years where he was hurt immediately. Right? They draft him, he's hurt. They fucking he comes back the next season. Nope, he's fucking hurt. So you get him back for this 3rd season, and you're like, dude, this kid's gonna be fucking good. They got one of the best defenses in the fucking league. They come out and go 8-0. He's on the cover of USA Today. Rex Grossman on the cover of USA Today. I still fucking have it. I saved that thing, right? And then he gets fucking hurt. Now, because they were still really fucking good, great running game. They had a great fucking running game. And then Devin Hester returning fucking kicks just made it easy to win football games, dude. But when Kyle Orton has to take you all the way through the fucking playoffs and the neckbeard is out there slinging the ball around and looking good, and then you go into the Super Bowl and it's like, the other guy is going to start. And you're like, well, that's good, right? No, it wasn't good. He fumbled the ball multiple fucking times. And you can't give Peyton Manning the ball more times than he should fucking have the ball.
It was a monsoon, though.
I don't give an actual fuck, dude.
Well, then they went and traded for Jay Cutler.
Dude, okay. God damn it. I wanted to move on from the Bears so bad. Jay Cutler right here.
There.
Look, dude. Look, dude. I've got the actual greats of the Chicago Bears organization right here. Got fucking Sweetness, because you can't argue with fucking Sweetness. Fucking Duck Coach, because if there's any fucking false idol that stands for the Chicago Bears and the worship of the fans, this man is worshipped by the fans. There's nothing he can ever do to not be worshipped by the fans. And then this guy right here, best quarterback the Chicago Bears have ever had, period. And they treated him like shit. The fucking media treated him like shit. The fucking fans treated him like shit. And he was the best starting quarterback we have ever had as an organization. He had the shittiest fucking coaches, the shittiest fucking coordinators. He got sacked a dozen times a fucking week. And he still took us to a fucking NFC championship. And got hurt. Tore his MCL, dude. Tore his MCL.
And they lost to Green Bay.
Yes, they did. They lost to Green Bay.
And then you go, you trade up, you get Mitch.
I love Mitch
on
too.
Mahomes.
God damn it.
And then the kicker misses the kick against the Eagles.
Can I tell you how many times I have argued that if Mahomes had been drafted by the Bears and Mitch had been drafted by the Chiefs, that Mitch would have been a fucking multiple Super Bowl winner and fucking Mahomes would have been fucking washed out somewhere? Because sometimes it can be that fucking close when it comes to your confidence and your ability to fucking believe in yourself and play at a competitive level and having good coaching to build you up instead of tear you the fuck down. And our coaching staff tore Mitch to the fucking ground, dude. But his first couple years, I mean, he set the record for touchdown passes for the organization in Soldier Field. I was at that game. He threw 7 of them or whatever, 5, whatever it was, because 2 of them were shovel passes that counted. And he was amazing. He was great. He was fucking awesome. And then all of a sudden, the coaching staff just starts fucking calling bad plays. They start to suck. The fans start to hate the coaches. Oh, Mitch is okay. Fucking implodes. And they send him to Pittsburgh and he gets on the field and he looks like a wet shit. And it's dude, Brady Quinn, one of my all-time favorite college quarterbacks. I'm a huge Notre Dame fan. Dude gets drafted by Cleveland and when they were the worst organization in the history of football at that time. Well, Detroit beat them, but whatever. Point is, it happens. And I still argued up until last year because I thought when Mitch went to Pittsburgh, he would get an opportunity, and I actually thought he might show up. Sadly, it didn't work out that way. I thought Trubisky was a good quarterback. He just got a raw fucking deal. Now, does that mean that he would have in any alternate universe been better than Patrick Mahomes? Probably not. But it was an argument that I stood by. I don't say the same thing about Justin. Like I don't think that we would have been better off with any or worse off with any other quarterback. Like, I don't even remember what quarterbacks were drafted the year he was drafted, if I'm being completely honest. I'm an old man. But the Mahomes thing.
Yeah. And it's always been like that. And that's the parallel with the Bears and Green Bay. Green Bay has gone from Brett to Aaron to Love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't buy the Love bullshit. The media buys it. The media is giving him the love. And he looked good, don't get me wrong. But I'm going to be skeptical because that's my job. I didn't believe in Aaron Rodgers for a while either.
Until he put on the belt and said, "I'm your daddy, Bears."
Oh, my God, dude. I'll tell you what, I've never had a love-hate relationship with any public figure the way I've had a love-hate relationship with Aaron Rodgers. Like, I hated him so much. I always respected Brett Favre. I never respected Aaron Rodgers because he was just such a prick. But then when the thing happens and he has a differing opinion than all the squawking in the media, and he gets torn apart, and then all of a sudden he's like, wait a minute, and he starts coming out about, choice and freedom and some of the things he starts talking about. And I was like, God damn, now I have to actually listen to this guy a little bit. And I'm like, but I hate him. And then he tore his ACL or his Achilles in that first game. And I was like, oh, well, now I feel better. He can sit around all year not playing football and talk all he wants on podcasts. I don't give a shit. He's not playing football for Green Bay. He can't beat me. He can't make me feel bad on a Sunday anymore. So therefore, he can do whatever he wants, and I don't care.
All right, now we'll move on to the Chicago Bulls.
I have nothing to say.
Well, I do.
Go for it, brother.
All right. The front office has to go. The coach may be okay.
Who's the coach right now? Who's the coach right now?
Billy Donovan.
Okay.
They draft like shit. Kobe White took 4 years to do anything. Patrick Williams is still sitting on the bench at Florida State. I remember you were really high on him.
I was so high on him, dude.
What's this other guy? Dalen Terry. I don't even know if he's played yet. The Vucevic trade destroyed the team because they were actually pretty good until they traded for him.
Yeah.
And Lonzo Ball hasn't played since they got him. It's just
What is the deal with that?
His knee, something.
Is that what it is? Is he
because of the shitty shoes, the big baller shoes?
No fucking way.
Yeah.
Is that really what it is?
Yeah, he can't even jump. I don't believe.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
And the shoes fucked up his knees that fucking bad that he can't play the fucking game.
Yeah.
Or is he just so not good that like it's an excuse?
Oh, he was when he played, he was pretty good.
I thought he was. I thought Lonzo was good.
Yeah, Zach LaVine is terrible. He does not play defense. He'll score 30, but he'll give up 60 on the other end.
Yeah, and then make him out like he's some big fucking deal too.
Yeah, I can't stand the dude. And now he's hurt, so you can't trade him. Caruso, they could have had a first-round pick for. They didn't. DeMar DeRozan's their best player, and he's like 87 years old. So flush them down the toilet. Their window's 10 years away.
Okay, cool. Now, hold on. What about their ownership situation? Because I haven't heard anything about it, and I don't have a ton of shit to say about the White Sox either, but they are owned by the same man,
Jerry Reinsdorf.
And there have been rumors of him selling the White Sox or moving the White Sox. So
don't they want?
I just wonder what he'll do with the Bulls. Yeah, they do.
United Center's fine.
Allegedly, the city proposed.
They want a new commission.
The United Center's fine. Yeah. Yes. So allegedly, according to my sources, the city proposed something on the lake, like down by the Lincoln Park area.
Very nice area.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know. Like are we going on to the White Sox already? Because
I mean, they go hand in hand. So
yeah, they really do. Well and it's like, look, if you don't know, I'm just gonna. So the Cubs and the White Sox, it's basically a civil war. It's battle lines in the city of Chicago and in the suburbs mostly. It really is. Like, it's two totally different, like, assumed classes. Obviously, class doesn't always line up with everything, but it is definitely a blue blood team versus a blue collar team. Like, that's what it is. And in the city, it is very much built that way. On the north side, where the Cubs play, nestled into their beautiful, little nook in the north side of Chicago, where Boys Town is over here, and all the apartments are super expensive and beautiful, and you can park and walk, and there's public transit right there, and it's great, man. And then when they redid Wrigley, they built it out even further, so you have even more area to just hang out in the parks and watch the game on big screens and go to the bars on foot and hang out in Cubbyville. Okay,
Wrigleyville.
That's Wrigleyville. Yeah, I know. Never mind. Anyway, God damn it, you ruined it. It was Wrigleyville. Now it's Cubbyville. Anyway,
demographics are the Cubs are your yuppie white fans, and
yes,
the minority classes in the South Side.
No. See, that's not even where I was going with it. It's just the blue collar. Like, so like my family grew up in steel mills. Like that's where my family worked. And a lot of that shit in the south of Chicago, like in the southern suburbs along the railways started to get, old, and a lot, like, they built a new highway systems and shit, because 57 used to be like one of the bigger highways. And like all those steel plants like shut down when I was very, very young. That happened all up and down the railway with the Chicago suburbs and shit. So,
and it also carries into like Gary, Indiana.
Yeah, yes, it does. Very much so. But those like the blue collar families of Chicago are very much like the South Side. The White Sox kind of represent them. They're, the good guys wear black mentality, like that kind of like we're the big boys on the block, blah blah blah. Now, to talk about the stadiums, where they're located, the demographics of the neighborhoods are very much different, and the safety of the neighborhoods is very much different, and the parking situation and everything else. And they have issues with the White Sox. Like, they have had issues. Now, the other thing is that stadium is really old. Like, it's been renovated. It's been renovated multiple times, but it's still, its bones are not young. Like, it's been there.
Wasn't it?
Well, that was the last time that's when they put the upper deck like on it.
No,
So like,
no, that stadium was built in '92. It was
oh,
old
okay. Oh,
Comiskey.
yeah. You're
Yeah,
right. The cell,
it,
which
and
is,
then
yeah.
they had the blue seats, and then they went to the green seats.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. And they had to change. One of the cool things they had to do is they had to change the upper decks because when they first built it, the angle was so bad. Like they were just so fucking steep. So they rearranged all that shit. I remember going there. I was a kid, man, because we used to get free. So that's the thing. Like we'd get free tickets to go to White
yep.
Sox games. We'd get free tickets to go to White Sox games. And it was about a 45-minute drive for us. And it was like, yeah, fuck it. They're free. Like, let's go. And we could basically sit wherever we wanted because nobody was in there. And like the White Sox have had issues with that. Like even so when they won their World Series with some of the most dominant pitching to ever fucking win a World Series, the White Sox, like their parade was like kind of rowdy, kind of what you expect, but they were kind of forgotten about pretty fucking quick, and they bitched about it. Like they were not happy about it. And then when the Cubs won and had, you know, how many million, 1.3 million people or 1.4 million people, whatever they claimed it was, that was there for the for the Cubs rally. And it's like they're the second team of the second city. That's exactly who the White Sox are. And their organization has a reputation of having people in it that have huge fucking chips on their shoulder. Like, so the team is built to have that mentality. Like it's be better than the Cubs. And when we play each other on the field, they tend to beat up on us. Like the last couple of years, the White Sox don't play nice in the cross city rivalry, but we've been a bad team. So anyway,
but I mean that goes back though. I mean, even
it does.
Michael Barrett and
Back
AJ
when it was
Pierzynski.
one of my favorite fucking moments, dude. One of my favorite fucking moments. Dude, Michael Barrett just punching that dude in the face. I still, every time I turn on a Sox game when that dude's on TV, I'll tell Dad and be like, still one of my favorite baseball moments of all time, Dad. Michael Barrett punching AJ Pierzynski right in the stupid face. Because there's just that rivalry, man. There's just that rivalry. Michael Barrett became way more famous in the city of Chicago than he should have been for that moment. He's a remembered Cub when he didn't really have that memorable of a career.
Well, we'll stick with the White Sox. The brand of baseball that they always played was they were the get a bloop, hit a home run type. They always
bloop and a
had
blast.
Good pitching, always good pitching. Jack McDowell, Alex
and they still
Hernandez.
They still do. Their pitching staff isn't like, I mean, Giolito is legit.
He's on Boston and he's up for the year.
Oh, wait. Oh, I'm behind. That. Hey, can you strike that from the record, please?
No, no edits here, buddy. So let's go into that.
Giolito was legit.
He was, and then he fell apart. And they traded him last year at the deadline, and he was even hotter garbage after he left.
Did they really? How did I fucking miss that? I must have forgot.
Well, that's the thing with the White Sox. They're the most forgettable team ever.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, Mark Burley is like memorable. Like I have because I grew up there and because I know the rosters. Like I tend to have guys that I remember and like okay. So we've talked a little bit historically about the other teams too. I mean the Sox. I mean. They're a historical team. It's not like they're a bunch of nobodies, and it's not like they don't have money. Like they have money to spend. Reinsdorf doesn't spend money. He never has, and it's why the Bulls still won 6 champions. That dude's so fucking lucky that they won those back to back the way they did. Because in today's world, where if to be on a a team that's considered a dynasty, it's like to win 3 in 5 years, like that's like dynasty territory because you're not
Even three and
expected to
like
win.
10.
Yeah, because going back to back, I mean, Kansas City just did it, so let's, tip our hats a little bit. But like, it's not that common in professional sports at this juncture, right? So they, I lost my train of fucking thought, dude. I don't
So
know.
let's go into this.
No, hold on.
Go ahead.
I picked it back up. So they have money. They're in Chicago. They have the third biggest market in baseball. They've been to World Series. They've been a historical team. They've won championships. They have fans. They just need to get them in the stadium, and they have trouble with that. So if they sell, or if Reinsdorf sells and they move the team, that would be tragic for the city of Chicago for to me, what would probably be a very short amount of time. I think if that happened, I think it would be a very short amount of time before either there's an application for an expansion or there is a situation where a team gets bought to move to Chicago, because Chicago has supported 2 baseball teams for so fucking long. They've proven they can do it. There's no reason not to. But if the White Sox as an organization can't get a stadium fucking built, or don't like what it is, and Reinsdorf would rather move them away, then that's what's going to happen. Another team can come in and build a stadium where they want. And I think, Milwaukee's been on the verge. Like, I know they just signed their deal to stay, allegedly, but like, that's all politics, so we won't get into that. But like, teams can move, things can happen. So, but if they can get a stadium built where people can actually go and watch the White Sox play, they will do it. They absolutely will do it, especially if it's within walking distance of downtown, because you can take so many public transit situations and then just walk from there and go to the stadium. And like, you'll get fans. But you're right, they're a bloop and a blast team. They still are. They still, they're trying to get by with bruisers. And it's worked well, and they've had great players traditionally. Ozzie Guillen is one of the craziest fucking managers I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
Like, trying to look like he was insane, and he won a fucking title. Like, they have great history, great moments in the city. And I like, I've always told my dad, to me it feels like as a Cubs fan, it's a big brother little brother relationship. Like, they hate us, but like, we kind of just grab them, give them a little nuggie, and say, oh, it's cute, you root for a baseball team, ha ha ha.
It if you compare the stadiums, and I was a huge Cubs fan growing up, but I've been to more White Sox games because tickets are free in most situations. We always took the L to Comiskey Park. You get off at 35th, you walk across the street, you're at the stadium. We always took the bus down Addison to get to Wrigley.
Okay.
It is like you said, it's 2 completely different areas. There is nothing around White Sox Park. It's just, here's a ballpark. There's 95 or the Dan Ryan, whatever it's called, and boom, there you go. I always remember going. The White Sox have fireworks every time they hit a home run. That's like so fan friendly. If you go down right field, there was always an awesome taco stand. I always get tacos at the White Sox games. And
the tunnel
most of the
behind the batter's eye is always pretty cool
weird.
too. Yeah.
It stands
I mean,
out.
it's something different, like something different.
But it's. I remember I went to a game. They played the Cubs. My hat got stolen. I put it down and it was gone. So that's just the type of area it is. It's it's a different lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the Cubs, they play they have the piano, the organ at Comiskey, Nancy's
Mm-hmm.
house to do the seventh inning stretches. But you never felt you felt entertained, but it just was like, okay, here I'm at a baseball game. Like the Cubs games, the Cubs sucked when we were growing up.
Yeah, it
We had
did.
80,
Yeah, they did.
84,
The
we had
lovable
89.
losers. The lovable losers, man.
Yeah. And but you always felt something special when you're at Wrigley.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Still do.
party.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, it is.
It's a
Dude,
party. It's fun. Like you don't have that atmosphere going to White Sox games.
I have a little story to illustrate that point, actually. Um, my dad, I bought tickets. I lived in DeKalb for 2 years when I was going to NIU after I got out of the Marine Corps. And the White Sox got to the game 163. I think it was against Cleveland. I want to say it was Cleveland. And they were going to play it at the Cell is what it was called at the time, but it's not anymore
Comiskey
that
Park.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still Comiskey. But anyway, so I bought 2 tickets and I took my dad and we sat like 20 rows up from the first base dugout. And it was a blackout. Like they told everybody to wear black for the game. So we did. Everybody, the whole stadium wearing black, but it was so quiet and it was a 1-0 game. I mean, if you go back and try and watch the game now, it'd probably be impossible to watch. It was a solo shot by I want to say it was Tommy, to be honest, which would be funny because they were playing Cleveland. But still, I don't know. Don't quote me on that. It may have been Konerko. But anyway, it may have been Konerko. Anyway, it was during that stretch, but it was so quiet for the majority of the game, and everybody was standing and everybody's wearing black. And then it felt eerie because it's like the lights from the stadium were just soaked up, so it just looked like the whole stadium was like covered in the shit WWE, or more appropriately AEW has to put on their seats to make it look like there might be people there, but so you can't see the empty seats. It looked like that. And when I went back and watched it on TV, dude, it was one of the coolest things I'd ever seen on TV. But like it's just, even in a game like that, you're in the extra game trying to get to the playoffs. And this was prior to the wild card even fucking being what the wild card is. And it was like, okay, this was fun. It was great. Yeah, they won. Fantastic. Awesome memory. But like, you could go to a random Cubs game on a fucking Thursday afternoon. You could like, if you walk up, you can walk up and buy a ticket there, and you can like walk in, go sit down and watch the people in the bleachers. Fucking, if it's in the summer, they're taking their dudes got their shirts off, sun tanning, like everyone's having a great time. And it's like that, like pretty much every game. I mean, obviously there are always exceptions for weather and blah, 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 blah. But once you get out of the spring and it warms up at Wrigley, there are just very few experiences like it. Very, very few.
I'll tell you what, I've sat at Wrigley under, like behind home plate, and it's 85 degrees. It's fucking 40 under there. It's like the worst thing ever. You got people buying $95 hoodies at Wrigley Field because it's so fucking cold.
The wind comes in off the lake and it blows right down in there.
And if you don't have any sunlight, it's curtains.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's such an eerie feeling going to Comiskey Park rather than Wrigley. It's like night and day.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe, obviously, Jerry Reinsdorf, he can get the hell out of town. But maybe if they would move it closer to the lake, it would be a better atmosphere because.
Oh, it would be. It 100. Like there's no way it wouldn't be better, dude. No way.
Instead of breaking down the team, because we'll do a baseball episode here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
Instead of, I think it's more of the ownership and the topography, demographically, of the stadium, and it's just dead. It's a dead atmosphere there unless the home run is hit, and then everybody goes wild and looks at the scoreboard, and
but it's usually a
fireworks
dead
go off.
ballpark too. I mean, they're not getting 30%.
Sellouts.
Yeah, like they're not getting 30%. Like some, I mean, they're doing very poor attendance. Now, I mean, the season, we're going into a brand new season, like you said, and I do hope we're planning on doing some opening day shit, because I want to talk about baseball so bad.
Yeah,
I would
even Coach is going to come back for that.
I would get on here and do this every night if we talked about baseball, but like,
oh, we are. Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're going to look like this year, but right now I don't think, from what I do know of the White Sox roster and everything, I mean, I don't expect them to come out swinging. I don't expect them to be in the run for the AL Central by any stretch of the imagination. So, I mean, they're probably going to be drawing,
18 to 30.
They're going to be drawn closer to fucking 2,500 to 10.
Is that bad? No.
Yeah, no, I bet, dude. Just when the season starts, like, I mean, once you get past the first week, obviously opening day is, but like their third homestand will go over. Yeah, we'll go over their record and their attendance. And then we'll look at the Cubs record and their attendance. I mean,
the records will probably be close, but the attendance will be completely
their records. Okay, we're not doing that. We'll talk about it later. Okay.
But yeah, it's just it's completely different feeling going between the ballparks.
Well, and it's a completely different feeling from organization to organization. I mean, just to jump right into it, talking about how we're going to stick to the family part of it and everything else. Like, the Cubs got bought a few years ago now. It's been quite a while now. Like,
probably
it feels
10 to 12.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a while at this point. And as a Cubs fan, it scared the shit out of me. I mean, I had no idea what to expect. I'll be honest with you. This is going to sound so weird to say now, but I really wished at the time that Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban would buy the Cubs. And there was talks. I mean, it was a very serious conversation, but the way we understood it at the time, MLB kind of said, we don't want you in our business, Mark Cuban. Now, whether or not that's true or not, I don't know, but it kind of, they said they did it. And I've actually heard that the NFL kind of told them the same thing when he tried to get in there too. So it's kind of like, but
and the wild thing, being a Pirates fan and living here, he's from Pittsburgh. Every day we wish Mark Cuban would have bought the Pirates.
I bet because look here, like, so if you go back in time to that point, right? The Cubs had, like you said, a beautiful field, but it was completely falling apart. Like the structure of it, the concrete was falling on people. You'd see fucking WGN News would be talking about it after a game where fucking concrete was falling on people, and like it was falling apart. The plumbing was fucking falling apart. They still had the absolute worst dugouts in Major League Baseball and the worst clubhouses for both teams. And it was like, man, we need to do something different. And I'll be honest, when they didn't think they were going to get it passed to remodel the stadium, because people were talking about the scoreboard and like the rooftop people were pissed and the people in the neighborhoods were pissed. And then Rosemont came up, the city of Rosemont came up with this tremendous stadium out in Rosemont. And I was sitting
right by the airport.
Dude, I wanted that so bad. And look, we just talked about the magic of Wrigley. I get it. But I was imagining a beautiful fucking like closable roof fucking stadium, like out by the airport, which, by the way, very easy to get to. It can be like traffic can be shitty, but it's like a 7-lane fucking highway each direction. So deal with it. You're in Chicago.
The perfect spot.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. And I like, so from where I live now out in Wisconsin, I drive to Rosemont to go to like WWE shows. Right. And it's like a cool 3-hour trip for me, but it's like on the nose. When I have to go downtown and then leave to go to Soldier Field, oh my God, or go to Wrigley, like it adds at least an hour and a half getting out of the city. You move me to Rosemont, I'm good. Like, hell yeah. So I wanted it. Now they got it all approved, whatever. Okay, here's what I'm going to say about Ricketts.
I hate him.
Okay, fine. But they said they were going to do exactly what they've done. And in Chicago sports, like we're talking about all Chicago sports here, and we're bagging on Reinsdorf and you know, we're gonna get to fucking Wirtz in a minute, but like they came in and they said we're gonna win, and then we're going to back off of the team spending. We're gonna invest that money into the stadium. And then once the stadium is rebuilt, we're going to come back and we're going to fucking win again. And I'm not saying they're in a position to win because honestly, again, opening day show, we're going to talk about lineups. We're going to talk about stuff like that. Probably going to spend a whole fucking hour on the Cubs, but they are doing exactly what they said. And now the construction is over. Okay, they're done. They've done all of their steps. Or maybe it's this year it's over. This is like the last year of the program or whatever. And they're building. They're doing exactly what they said they were going to do, you know. And I don't know how I feel about them. I've never learned enough about them personally to really, you know, like to really understand any of it, because here's the thing. I don't really give a fuck. They own a baseball team. They own a team that if they wanted to sell right now, they could probably sell it for north of $4 billion. Right. Easily. So they're billionaires. I fucking barely put food on the fucking table every day. I don't pretend to understand the thought processes or the decision-making processes of a fucking billionaire. So I'm not going to judge them unless they did something absolutely fucking deplorable. The moral judgments are different if it's a moral situation. But if they're idiots and they make stupid decisions with their money or what, I don't care about that if they're taking care of my team, because it's my team, you know. And in the context of sports, that's really all we care about anyway, right? Whether or not they're taking care of our team. And because let's be honest, they're just taking care of it, right? They're going to sell at some point, or they're going to die, or they're going to move on. And as an organization, I mean, I don't know about your organizations, but the Cubs have been around for a little bit of time. They've gone through, you know, owner periods. Like it's not just, I don't know, man. The world goes on.
My aspect of hating the Ricketts family is you've done everything that you said they did. Wrigley to me has always been the most pure place in the world. Now it's just like corporate and it's just not the same.
Okay. Now again, just because I'm sorry to cut you off, brother. But what are the options? What are the options? You move that stadium, you go out to Rosemont. If you don't think that place is like, it would probably look like what Texas looks like. You want to talk about something that's just disappointing to me. Like it looks like it's a cardboard cutout of what a stadium is supposed to be. Like if they would have played in something like that just takes the soul out of the game, I think it would have been pretty fucking disappointing. So, and I know it's been bastardized a little bit. It's been bastardized. It has. But so has fucking God damn it. So has fucking Fenway. You know, I was just out there 2 years ago and finally touched the back of the fucking wall and all that shit. Like it's a cool place. It's fucking fantastic. Totally historical, but it's been completely fucking bastardized too. You know, they all have to be, right? Like you can't keep playing in a place that's falling apart.
Yeah. No, that's fair. It's fair. I don't like the fact that they put the sheets up so the rooftop people can't see and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But that was what made it special to me. But the Cubs have never been a well-run organization. It was always come see the show, whether it be Sammy hitting a home run when they're down 10-0, or just the party of the bleacher bum.
Fuck yeah.
We had when we were young, we had 84. They traded for Rick Sutcliffe. That's my memory. You see the Sarge out there giving the salute. You had Sandberg just doing his thing, not making any errors.
You know what ruined all that? You know what ruined all that, right?
What?
2003.
So
2003 happened, and all of us that grew up and watched the Lovable Losers felt the fucking glow of almost fucking winning and listening to Ron Santo on the fucking radio crying after they win their first playoff series, and you're just like, oh my god, this is so amazing. I was going to college at Illinois State University, and they set up a big fucking inflatable thing to like project the fucking game onto a screen to watch it in the quad when they were playing in fucking Miami. Well, they were playing in Chicago, but like the night that the night Chicago died. The night Chicago died for several years. But my point is, it's not Bartman that ruined it. It's just the expectations of the team by the fans changed, because we saw what it felt like to win, and we fucking wanted it, and we got close, and we had players that we thought like we're gonna, and then we got even better players. I mean, you come out of 2003, and then we add Derek Lee, who had just beaten us in that fucking series, and it's just like, holy shit. And you're Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor and Carlos Zambrano. Holy fuck. Like, and then they never even got close.
Mark Pryor's career ended, and
fuck that guy. And he's still coaching. I like Mark Pryor.
Dodgers bullpen.
Yeah. But Mark Pryor, out of all of them, Mark Pryor was the one that I Zambrano. Okay, Kerry Wood is like, I love Kerry Wood. Like when he came back and went in the bullpen, it just warmed my heart. Love Kerry Wood. But Zambrano was the guy. Like Zambrano was the fucking guy, right? And he stuck around, and he was so awesome, and his personality, and he beat the shit out of water jugs, and he fucking threw a no-hitter in fucking Milwaukee when they were supposed to be playing in Chicago, but they were playing in Milwaukee because because of the weather. Like who has stats like that,
And he hit tanks as a pitcher.
He fucking hit bombs, dude.
Kerry Wood did too.
Bombs. Kerry, he could swing the bat.
Big situations, but
he's no Dempster. No Dempster.
All those guys fell apart, and that's the perfect foreshadowing for the way of this franchise. You get up here, and then everybody gets hurt, and you're right back down at the bottom.
Yeah, but I don't see. So that's the thing. I don't see that arc. I don't blame. Like, I don't look at that time period and say, "Oh, it's a Cubs thing." Like it was Dusty Baker.
Billy Goat.
Bullshit. Dusty Baker runs through fucking pitchers, and if you go down the rosters that man has managed, yeah, has he won baseball games? Absolutely. But look at his pitchers. It's not just Mark Pryor. It's not like you had guys that he wore out, dude. You had guys that he wore out.
Mark Pryor throwing 138 pitches in Game 6.
Dude, Strasburg.
Yeah.
He fucking wore out Strasburg. Anyway, sorry. I'm sorry.
No, that's
Dusty
fine.
Baker. Dusty Baker is one of those guys that like I just can't be happy for when he succeeds. And MLB has just loved to show him succeed. Like, and he's been great, man. He's managed some great fucking teams, but he ruined the Cubs. He destroyed
He
them.
did.
He destroyed the Cubs. So I hold a grudge with Dusty Baker. I truly do. He destroyed the organization.
He truly did. I was getting autographs one day at PNC Park when the Cubs were here, and he grabbed my ball and signed a sweet spot. I gave that ball to another kid because I didn't want it. Yeah, I just. But Wrigley Field, if you've never been there, you have to go because it's special.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't have to go to Comiskey Park because it's a dump.
No, I wouldn't recommend it. If you're trying to do all 32 parks or whatever, make sure it's like one of your last, or like you go to a Cubs game and like do a day night doubleheader, and then like in the third inning you're like, oh fuck, I'm really tired. I did make it here, and then take off.
So there's two more sports teams in Chicago.
Are there? I think there's like 100 more, dude. But
well, we're not going to talk about the Fire. We're going to talk about Depaul basketball.
Nope.
Currently, right now, they're playing their last game of the season. They're getting destroyed with a 3-27 record.
So they're not on the bubble.
no, their bubble burst in the fourth game. They used to be, and this is something with Chicago. Their games used to be on WGN, the Superstation. Everybody could watch them nationwide. They were a powerhouse in the late 70s, early 80s, and WGN went away, and so did DePaul basketball. They are ranked the worst Power 5 team in the country this year. They have a really nice stadium next to McCormick Place, Wintrust Arena. They are the lowest NIL team of any Division I school.
Oh, wow.
And I believe they're ranked 322.
Oh, my God.
In the nation this year. They just fired their head coach. They've lost every game by about 30 this year when they play a real team. The only thing they have really going for them is they are in the city of Chicago, and they're in the Big East Conference, so they get televised a lot.
I've never understood how Chicago has no like collegiate presence. It feels like, and maybe that's kind of common. Like, I wonder, like, if you broke down colleges that are inside like the city of New York or like inside the city of LA, USC, I guess, but
UCLA as well.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. But it's like Chicago is just notoriously not competitive in sports like basketball, like for college, and they have no football. I don't even know, does Chicago, like NIU, I think is what they like. Northwest. Yeah. But Northwestern's a private school. So it's like,
they don't have the presence. You probably have one of the best basketball cities, high school wise.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, high school wise, dude, you have legit basketball, and you can't recruit them to anywhere to stay home. Like, there's nowhere to recruit them to, and U of I used to be prevalent, but is U of I still like even any good? Like, I don't.
I think they're like number 14 this year.
Okay. So they're
doing pretty well.
But that's nowhere near the city of Chicago.
Right. And that's what people don't understand. It's way down south. 3 hours from Chicago?
Out in the middle of a fucking cornfield to go to school at U of I.
Yeah.
Like, you're out in a cornfield.
DePaul used to play at the Rosemont Horizon, but now they have the Wintrust Arena, so they don't even do that anymore. So people don't go because they probably lose, and it's probably a pain in the ass to get down there.
Is UIC any good still, or
No,
no?
they're not. Chicago State used to be like awful every year, and they were mediocrely decent this year. But yeah, it's bad. I think a lot of DePaul's issues deal with the WGN is not there anymore.
Oh, I 100% agree with that. I think there's a lot of things that have suffered because of WGN, but
Cubs play more night games because there's no WGN.
Yeah.
The White Sox used to be on every Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that actually ties everything together. The Blackhawks used to play on WGN as well. The Bulls were on WGN, Dan Rowan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, the Bulls is WGN was the way I watched the Bulls until you had to watch them on TNT or whatever, but I did grow up watching the Bulls just like everybody who grew up in the area, so it's not like I didn't watch them, but WGN hurt a lot of things in the city of Chicago. It did, but it was going to happen. It's the manner of all things at this point in time in history. Conglomeration just continues to happen. But Chicago, when the Cubs decided they had to get their own network, that was and so many teams are doing shit like that. The Brewers did something stupid up here where they're on Bally Sports or whatever, but you can't get Bally Sports on normal stuff. You have to pay for Bally Sports specifically in your home district. It's fucking stupid. It hurts teams. It hurts baseball, but the NFL, everybody, the NFL's football's the best sport. Well, the NFL owns a day basically. And if you're honest about it, during football season, they basically own the ratings for 4 days a week. 4 out of 7 days a week, the NFL is going to be your highest rated fucking thing.
I bet there's more games on Saturdays next year too.
Probably. Which I think is stupid because college football still, college football, the NCAA will fucking bitch about that. but you understand what I'm saying. It's baseball is still super regional. It is still regional. And when you start killing your regional markets, you create issues in the sport. It's just what you do. But it is still super regional. You watch your team. Baseball's a long season. It's 162 fucking games. I can watch ESPN every night and get highlights and be like, oh, I know this guy's doing this or this guy's doing that. That's great. But if you really want to know your team, you watch baseball games or you listen to baseball games at the very least. I'll put in over 100 Cub games this year. Easy. And that's probably a modest estimate, whether I'm listening or watching, because I love baseball and I want to know about my team. I don't want to know from national coverage because I watch MLB Network every morning to catch up on it. Doesn't mean I know about a team. You know what I'm saying? And that's the difference with baseball. You have to keep your fans invested because your casual fans, they come around during the playoffs or big games or whatever, but you need your hardcore fans for baseball. It's every day. It's literally every day. They get 2 days off or 3 days off, 4 days off a month now. It's every 2 weeks they have to have 2 days off or whatever. That's it.
It's the common denominator for your year. There's a baseball game on.
100% baseball game on. What are we doing today? Well, there's a baseball game on.
It's March 9th. It's going to go until November.
Yep.
So it's wild. So there's one more team that we haven't covered. We saved the best for last because they're probably the closest to winning.
Oh, fuck yeah. By a lot. Well, the Cubs are pretty fucking good, but we'll cover that, in a couple weeks.
Yeah. You have the Blackhawks, and we talked about the Wirtz family earlier. What is going on with them now?
Okay. So we'll do the family thing, right? So I'm going to tie this to a personal. The Wirtz family. they made it so you couldn't watch home games on TV
As we were growing up, it was only away
because they wanted you at the stadium. Okay, they were that fucking greedy about it. So I grew up listening to Pat Foley on the radio because that's the way. Yeah. Oh my God, dude. I'm getting fucking goosebumps talking about it. But like, that's how I learned to love the Hawks. And I played hockey. I played hockey until I had my second kid and men's teams and stuff. So not at a high level, but I played on a club team for my college. And like, I loved hockey, but I loved the fucking Hawks. And when, dude, you sent me that video of, because I didn't watch that game and I really wish I would have, but you sent me the video of Chelios bringing everybody out there. Like, Tony Amonte looks fucking great. Like, that dude looks fucking great. I loved him. Like, and that's like Roenick is getting old and looks old, and Chelly looks fucking great. Chelly looks like he should be selling workout videos. Like, he looks fantastic.
Looks great.
Denny looks. That dude is like, he must have found the fountain of youth or something, because he looks good. And I mean, it was just, the Hawks have, to me, it's always bothered me because I feel like they're not looked upon the same way a lot of the other organizations in Chicago is. I mean, okay, the Bears, people live and die with the Bears. They do. Whether you want to believe it or not, people in Chicago, there are tons of people that live and die with the Bears. They are depressed when they lose. They, like, legitimately. Okay. Like, there are people that go to Cubs games and live and die with the Cubs. People that, well, probably not with the White Sox. And the Bulls are still in the NBA, which for some reason is still a profitable league. I don't understand how, but it is. Okay. The Hawks are kind of overlooked, and they bring more tradition to their sport than most of the other teams. I mean, the Bears bring a lot of tradition. The Cubs do bring a lot of tradition. The Sox, number one thing that they add to baseball tradition is having a World Series fixed. But like, they're players, man. The guys that have played for the Hawks, like the names, and
they're heroes.
Oh my God, dude. When they brought out Eddie the Eagle, like, okay, so I had a poster. I'm talking about listening to the Hawks. I had a poster of Eddie from his last game that we got from the United Center. It was his last game he played in the United Center, and it came in a fold out like poster, and it had him in two different poses, one with the white, one with the red jersey on. And then it had the old Chicago Stadium in the background of one and the United Center in the background of the other. Dude, I had that thing on my wall until I left that house. Like, I loved that guy. And Chelios, Roenick, fucking dudes that in the league were names that everybody knew. The saddest thing is two of my favorite Hawks of all time, and now a third one, they tend to also play for Detroit, which is like horseshit. You know, Bob Probert came from Detroit before he got to the Hawks, and most people know him as a Red Wing. Fuck that. He was a Hawk. You know, like Chelios, like, is in the Ring of Honor in Detroit. Fuck that. He's a Hawk. Like, he was the captain. And then they were really bad. They were really, really bad, and they still weren't on TV. And talk about an organization giving away free tickets. And that was when the Bulls were good. You know, like the Bulls owned the United Center for a stretch of time. And
yeah, right when it opened,
yeah. And the Hawks took it back. The Hawks took it back. And when, like, you talk about the atmosphere, they built such an amazing atmosphere in that stadium. You know, when they started playing Chelsea Dagger after goals, and they
Jim
just,
Cornelison,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude, when he shows up, like when the Bears made the playoffs a couple times, he showed up to do the anthem for them at Soldier Field, and like he shows up
You're
at,
ready to run through a wall, man. You had Wayne
again.
Messmer too. He did
Oh
that?
yeah, Mesmer's quality, but Jim Cornelison hits a different. It's just and the noise in that stadium. You know, when they were at their peak, and it was like, so I took my boys to the United Center in would have been like 2017, 2018, and I knew the window was closing. I knew it was coming to an end, and it was still like $150 a ticket to get like 4 rows from the fucking being able to touch the roof at the United Center.
Mm-hmm. And that's a big fucking building, 20,000.
Yeah, it is, and it's actually a pretty great building. Like I didn't like it at first. The first thing I ever saw at the United Center was the WCW Monday Nitro. Goldberg came out and squashed one of my childhood icons in the Big Boss Man. Total squash match. But anyway, memory lane.
The first thing I ever saw there was WWF. It was the Heart Attack, or it was the Undertaker against Bret Hart in the main event in a casket match, I believe.
Nice.
I was in the last row of the lower bowl, and that's all that was open was the lower bowl. But I've been to Bulls games there. I've been to Hawks games there. It is truly a beautiful place.
It is. It's great. And the Hawks turned it into a winning tradition. They stopped the TV embargo. They moved Foley over to TV, which I hated. I hated it first, but I'll be honest, he was great on TV too. And
he's the best.
To have him calling like so many great moments. Oh my god. Oh, yeah, the Hawks, dude. The Hawks are the only team other than the Cubs winning their one World Series, which, as emotional and wonderful as that was, which it was. I mean, I called my grandmother that night. She was almost 90 years old, and like that was a great night. There's just something about the Hawks run that brings it back for me. Like my kids like watched me tear up when they won this one, you know, because they weren't with me when they won the first one. But it's like there was just an experience about it. I have a poster right over here on my wall of the 2010, and it's got Bufflin, Boland, Keith, Sharp, Kane, and Taves on it. And it's and Niemi, by the way, which
your favorite aunt.
Yes, he is my favorite aunt. Like he won us a cup, and he was great. Yeah. Dude, Anthony Niemi got overshadowed because Crawford turned into, you know, that should be the next number to go up on the rack right there, 50. That should be. No, I know,
19, buddy.
I'm being ridiculous. I don't think he should pass anybody. But but like, I get like legitimately, like I haven't talked about it in a while. Like, because those moments, like I have serious like memory, like legit core memories from a lot of those moments when they were at their top, and watching them come down wasn't very fun, but you knew it was going to happen. I mean, everybody ages. You know, Duncan Keith had been playing so many minutes that
almost
the wheels fall off. Yeah. Like the wheels fall off at some point, you know.
Seabrook was the first.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Like he got paid, and then all of a sudden he was too old to skate, you know. And then Hossa, you know, Hossa got sick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
sick.
Yeah, Tave got sick. You know, Kane got shipped out at Kane could have been shipped out a season earlier, 2 seasons earlier. Like he really, like Kane being the last one to leave was actually quite shocking for me. It really was. I thought he would be out the door the minute the shit started to fall apart, and he wasn't. He stuck around and gutted out some bad teams, and he still carried the Hawks. He had good seasons, really good seasons.
So he took some poundings too.
I think I brought this up in another show. I was actually on board with them trading him at multiple points along that run. And it wasn't anything against him, but it was just, he was the flashy of the two. And I think that like, generally speaking, that can be replaced.
Problematic.
But and problematic. Yeah, right. But he had proven he wasn't going to be problematic. It was just, I didn't think he would turn out to be the stalwart that he ended up turning out to be. And my respect for him as a hockey player went up after they fell apart because of that, because he stuck it out, because he played hard. He never stopped playing hard. And everybody else fell to the wayside, and he kept going. And he's still going right now. He who knows what's going to happen for Patty Kane over the next month, but you know, I love that time. Will always love that time. And like most people, I think they've been hard to watch because you just don't want to see it. You don't want to see them not be good. They allegedly stole the draft to get Connor Bedard, which was the greatest thing they could have done. And now they have to build around him. And that's all there is to it. They have to build around him. So that's where we are.
And you figure they're going to be back in 2 or 3 years, as long as they get somebody to protect Connor.
Yeah, I mean, look, they drafted Taves first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Seabrook.
Kane.
Yeah, and Kane.
Well, Seabrook and Duncan were there.
Okay.
They took their lumps, and then they got Taves, and they got Kane.
But like Crawford came later, and they always had to move. Like I said, that there are 3 guys on that poster from 2010 that were gone that year, right?
Buff.
Well, Boland wasn't gone that year, but he was gone soon after. But Byfuglien was gone, and they had, like, Byfuglien was huge in that fucking Stanley Cup, like that whole playoff run.
Yeah.
So it's like you're always going to have to replace your second, third line, fourth line guys. Like, you have to refresh them, and you have to have the right GM to do it. But you got to have a whole core, like when they traded Sharp to get Hossa, or not Sharp. I'm sorry. Was it Sharp?
No.
Who did they trade to get Hossa?
They signed a Hossa, big contract.
Did they? Who'd they let go then? Was it Sharp? No, because he was there.
He was there for.
There was somebody else. There was somebody else that they didn't. There was somebody. Was it Versteeg?
Yeah.
But he ended up coming back. But anyway, my point is like you make the moves you have to make. You do what you have to do. But it's not just going to happen because they got the next greatest fucking player in hockey. Like that's just not like. And I know we've talked about this, and we're probably going to repeat it multiple times. It doesn't work that way. Fucking, if it worked that way, Ovechkin would have fucking 10 trophies on his fucking mantle. Yager would have fucking 10 mantles on his, or 10 fucking titles, and he's got quite a few playing. Actually.
He's still playing. They won their Czech league last year.
Yeah, I saw that. Isn't he playing with his son? Like his son's on the team or some shit? Okay, that's what it is. Yeah. Anyway, the Hawks.
3 years, they'll be back.
Yeah. So I just want to know who's going to be playing goalie.
That's a big issue. You have Peter, you have Soderblom, you have Jackson Stauber coming up. They got rid of my man Kevin Lankinen.
Thank God.
But
I did not like.
Yeah, their future is going to be bright. You have a all-time superstar, generational talent. They have a 25.5% chance of getting Macklin Celebrini next year. So the future is bright. and they were probably maybe the Cubs. I don't know. They're probably the first team to get it back in Chicago, I would think.
I don't think they'll be the first team to make the playoffs. Like, so right now we're talking about 5 teams that have been pretty much nowhere near the playoffs the last couple of years, right? I mean, the Bears had a number 1 pick. The Hawks had a number 1 pick. The Cubs were close last year. You know, they let it slide at the end,
lost
but they
the last 3 days.
yeah, they were close to getting a wild card. I don't know if I put that very. I mean, in baseball, the wild card can get you to the World Series, but still, like I wouldn't. They didn't make the playoffs. Bulls are terrible, and the Sox are terrible. Well,
the Bulls will probably make the playoffs this year because the NBA is 10 teams now.
Right.
But I'm saying, like, championship wise, the Hawks probably have the best future.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the Cubs are in a good spot. I know that the deal with fucking Cody isn't great. He can opt out. I know all those things, but you know, Dansby has proven that he's going to show up every day to play. Nico Horner is a fucking stud, and I am so like that was one that I put a lot of meat behind and being like, dude, this guy is legit. Bought a lot of cards, you know, shit like that. Like, and he's panning out, and he looks like he's like the middle infield of the Chicago Cubs is really fucking good. It's really good, and it hits for average. It's great in the field. It hits for average, and it hits for fucking pop. Because Nico's got some pop.
We've been friends for 10 years, and I would say that I love Nico has probably been texted to me about 450 times.
I do love Nico. I fucking love Nico. I do. I think he's a Cub that we're gonna fall in love with. You know, the last Cub I fell in love with was fucking Anthony Rizzo. And I still fucking love Anthony Rizzo. Say what you want about anybody else on that roster. Jason Hayward got a ton of love for his speech. Well, without Rizzo, you don't touch the fucking World Series. You don't.
He was kind of the heart of the team.
Yep. And why do you think the Yankees were willing to fucking like? I mean, the Yankees. He's old, man. He's done. But like,
KB's been terrible.
KB, and that was writing on the wall on that one for me. Like he had 2 great years, and then it turned into the fucking Scott Boras show, which we don't need
the
to.
Other name.
We'll talk about that.
We'll get into that for baseball, but the other name that you have to mention when you mention those guys is Javi. He was kind of the straw that stirred the drink, and he brought you back to PCA because that's the future right now.
Yeah. Okay. So and again, I'm gonna have to. I don't know what he's hitting. I just don't know how. I mean, it has to be contract control. We have to be having a contract controls conversation.
Yeah. What I was deciphering, the Super 2 thing is kind of gone away. But if they're on your roster on opening day, you lose a year of control.
Okay.
So that's probably what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I hate that. I think it's stupid. I think it sucks for the players. I think it sucks for the management. And I mean the game management, like the actual manager, because he wants the best roster out there. He wants guys that can get into grooves and get people hitting every day. And I mean, I don't. We're going to be talking about the roster and the depth chart, obviously, coming up, but it's disappointing. I think PCA should be out there. But Javi, to talk about Javi, the thing about Javi that I loved was that he was a wizard with his glove. And I don't know why, but I like that. You know, Ryan Terrio, of all people, like just a top Cub for me because him and anyway. Javi was great, but Javi struck out 200 times a fucking year.
But he would
And
hit 30 bombs.
but it wasn't predictable. Okay, so the thing about great players that still strike out a lot and hit 30 bombs, the ones that end up being legends and instead of washing away when they get to a shitty lineup with no one to protect them, is that they do it in opportune times when guys are on base or when an inning can be turned over. You know, when you can knock a pitcher out and fucking take the lead at the end of an inning. And those are the moments when he would strike out with the most fucking elaborate fucking swings. And you have a guy on your roster that you watch, an Anthony Rizzo, that gets to 2 strikes, chokes up on the bat, and makes fucking contact. Javi would be swinging for the fucking moon, and a pitcher would throw him a slider that was 2 feet out of the fucking strike zone, and he'd almost let go of his bat swinging at it, and you could have bases loaded with 2 outs and be trying to win a game. He didn't pick spots. He just swung. And there were times when, man, it was lightning in a bottle and it was exciting. And there were other times where it was like, fuck you, dude. Could you not? And then he takes the money, goes to Detroit, and is awful. And it's like, well, bye. You know, the one that I wish we could have held on to is Kyle Schwarber. And the Cub fans loved Kyle Schwarber. But he didn't just swing for his home runs. He had and has one of the best eyes in baseball. That dude does not swing at close pitches, and he gets a lot of called strikeouts for it, where if you watch him at bat enough, they're close, you know, like where you could be like, and they'll call him out and he'll be like, "Rrr." But like he's more of like a Barry Bonds hitter. He picks his pitches and swings and it's gone. Whereas Javi was wild man, fucking Tasmanian devil spinning around just hoping to make contact. And when he did, gone, long gone. But, you know, and when you don't have guys to protect you, you don't get those pitches. They don't have to throw him a single fucking strike in Detroit and he'll swing. So, of course, his batting average is shit.
What?
I loved Javi.
After we've gone through all of this.
Yes.
What does it feel like to be a Chicago sports fan?
Well, my dad was here to watch the Bear-Packer game with me at the end of the football season. I looked at him in the third quarter and I said, Dad, I love you for everything you've done for me, but making me have to be a Bears fan was fucking awful of you. And he just looked at me and he's like, I lived through it. Okay. It's moments like that with the Bears. And then it's the great memories that I have with the Hawks and the Cubs. You know, I even celebrated when the White Sox won because I was happy for them. Like I said, little brother, you know. Mm-hmm. Even the Bulls, dude, like I said, we grew up in the Chicagoland area during that time. And we talk about WGN. We mentioned WGN earlier. I watched that documentary thing that 30 for 30 did. I can't remember what it's called. With the Bulls one.
Yeah.
And I told my kids, I was like, they're showing the clips of everything on the news, right? Like, and I was like, you know, this is just a documentary and they're showing clips of what was on the news. I was like, that was every day of my life during that time period, every night, because we only had so many channels, you know, and I lived WGN. We watched the WGN or the ABC. Mark G and Greco talked about the Bulls every fucking night. You know, like his
daughter is in Pittsburgh now.
Oh, no shit.
On news, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Fuck yeah.
The Last Dance.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But it was every day. It's all anybody talked about. When you went to school, it's all anybody talked about. We all wore Pippen, Jordan jerseys. Actually, I was such a fan of the fucking NBA that time, and Champion made such a cool jersey. I had
$40.
I had a Shaq jersey, a Penny jersey, a fucking Grandma Ma, fucking Alonzo Mourning, fucking dude. I had all types of basketball. Loved basketball.
Yep.
And it's dead for me. You couldn't pay me to sit and watch a fucking NBA game right now. Like, you couldn't do it. But I grew up with it and I loved them, but it died and the organization is shitty and I just don't care. But I've had the best, the highest highs and the lowest lows. And I think a lot of sports fans in general can identify with that. I think, I think that's just what it is to be a fan of sports in general. But the thing about being a Chicago fan that I think makes us specific to Chicago is that we're often overlooked. Like, our teams are kind of like the second city tag applies to Chicago pretty broadly. And everybody loves to dote on our historical shit, but it's so hard to be irrelevant. Like, when you're in a smaller market and you're not good, it's so much easier to be irrelevant. When you're Chicago and when you're the Bears and you're bad, it's on Monday Night Football and Thursday Night Football and Sunday Night Football, and it's against the playoff Packers and the playoff Vikings and playoff Detroit. Like, you're never safe. You're always talked about. You're Chicago. And when your teams are good, all the leagues that you're in are better for it. When the Hawks are good, the NHL, much better for it. Much better for it. Ratings are better, money's up, everything's good. So I love them. I have no hate in my heart for anybody other than the Bears.
I think for me, the best way to summarize everything is by something that we heard every September, and that's wait till next year. And that's with all of them, because
that is with all of
it's
them.
always wait until next year.
Yeah. And we're doing that right now. Hey, honestly, we're doing that right now, and the season is about ready to start for the Cubs. And we're going to see where they are. The White Sox, we'll see where they are. The Bulls are almost done. Like you said, probably going to make it to the playoffs. The Hawks are almost done.
They're going to probably make it to the first pick.
Yeah. And the Bears are waiting to find out. They've got 2 top 10 picks.
Yeah. My cousin is the one that gave us the idea for this episode.
Oh, nice.
And when I asked him what it felt like to be a present-day Chicago fan, he said, it's like walking into a gangbang when you get home after work, your wife being the gangbang, and just saying, fuck it, and just joining in.
It's hard to deny. It's like one of those things, you don't want to do it, but it's like, what the fuck ever. It might be fun.
It's just a daily kick in the nuts.
Oh, shit. Well, right now it's kind of fun, though, wouldn't you say? I mean, it's a little bit fun, though, isn't it? I mean, all of the coverage right now, if you turn on ESPN and they're talking about the draft, they're talking about the Bears, and I kind of like that. I mean, I like that part of it. I like the excitement. I mean, it's much worse. Like, I'll say the worst time as a Bear fan for me was when Lovie Smith was going 500 every year and we were drafting in the middle. And it was like, you just don't care. It's really means nothing, but you're not making it to the playoffs, but you're kind of good. And it's like, I'd rather have a team that was tanking and had a direction than a team that's just mediocre and okay with it. And right now, I'll say none of the Chicago teams other than the White Sox are in that space. I think the White Sox are definitely in that space. I think the White Sox are going to be a 500 baseball team or below 500, and they're just kind of okay with it. They're probably not going to do much. They're not, they're just going to kind of do what they do. But the rest of them are making, are either on the upswing and ready to push, or they're completely recharging and making those plans for what comes next. So it's kind of fun, except for the Bulls have no plan. That's
Yeah. So as we record this, we're about to go through UFC 299.
oh fuck, what time is it?
Yeah, it's
Oh
the
shit,
second
dude.
round of the first fight. So one of our favorites fought tonight while we recorded. Our girl Macy Barber came out with the W. She
Fuck
beat
yeah.
Caitlin Chukagian.
Fuck yeah, she did.
So
That
right
way,
now
Macy.
we have Peter Yan against Song Yadong. Who do you like in that fight?
Jan.
Yeah, me too. Gilbert Burns is going to fight Jack Della Maddalena.
Mm-hmm.
That should be a high action fight.
I'm excited for that one. Actually, that's we were sitting there talking. We got to get to this. I'm like, I don't know who I have in that fight. I'm pulling up the odds right now because I was actually looking at those earlier.
It's actually close to pick 'em.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Okay. Gilbert Burns.
Yeah. I'm going to take Della Maddalena just because.
Okay.
Then we have the debut of Michael Venom Page against Kevin Holland.
Dude, I am so excited to see that. I'm legit like their hype pieces on that, their little fucking promos they've been running have got me hooked. And that dude looks to I want to see what he throws. I just want to see what he comes out to the UFC for the first time. Let's see what he throws to the fucking wind. He might do something just remarkable. He might get knocked the fuck out too. That'd be
he might
fun.
Get choked out by Kevin. I'll take MVP in that.
Okay.
Then we have Dustin the Diamond Poirier against Benoit Saint Denis.
Oh no! You know what? I looked at this one earlier and I took Dustin to lose.
Yeah. Benoit is actually the favorite. I think go against Dustin, man.
This is like one of those fights where you put that guy in front of a guy and say, here, what are you going to do with this? Like, are you really an up and comer? Are you really a champion?
That's exactly what it is.
It's a test fight, and Dustin is a tough test, dude. He's a killer. He's a killer.
Who do you like?
I'm going with the Benoit for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have the main event. We have Marlon Chito Vera against the Sugar Show.
Okay. I'm not a fan of Shane O'Malley, but I think he's going to win tonight.
I think Vera's going to beat him.
Do you really?
Like he did the first fight.
Yeah, I don't. I think he needed a wake up call. His fights leading up to that fight didn't look great either. Like he went from being a knockout machine to being kind of like, is he going to finish it? Can he finish it? What is he capable of? So hopefully he trained a little bit harder and he's a little bit more focused, but I think he's going to, cause I still think he's going to be, a legit champion personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should close this down.
We absolutely should. We should go watch that. And thank you for your patience and allowing me to run long tonight. Fucking, as you can tell,
I thought you did wonderful.
I fucking care so much about this shit. Could have done at least 2 more hours.
Get to the chopper. Top guys out.
Top guys out.